My story is probably not the typical, come to Jesus type of story. I was raised a pastor's kid. I've got three much older brothers, and I was kind of an only child, and frankly, pretty spoiled, to be quite honest with you. Church was, Sunday morning, Sunday evening, Wednesday nights, and I think I kind of felt that because I was growing up in a Christian family, and my dad was a pastor, and just really a great guy, that somehow that was gonna make me a great guy, and that somehow I had kind of a ticket into the kingdom of God based on my family and my dad especially, and so I think that translated to a fairly mediocre Christian life up through even my marriage and the birth of my third child. In November of 2006, my two older kids, both boys, 6 and 4, had brought home some sort of flu virus from preschool or school or whatnot, and my 10-month-old boy, Treffin, picked up the virus, and after a week, I think my other kids, the virus was gone, all the symptoms was gone, but my 10-month-old seemed to be getting worse, not better. We went ahead and took him in to his pediatrician to get him checked out, and I remember it was the start of a really crazy whirlwind, couple months that the pediatrician took a listen to his heart, and and said, what, he's in heart failure, and this was incredible news to us. We really didn't know that there was anything wrong with him, and we had to be rushed to the hospital. Went down to Phoenix Children's Hospital, and we didn't have to check in at the desk. We didn't have to do any of the stuff that you'd normally do being admitted into a hospital. I mean, it was pretty serious, and we went straight back into a room, and it wasn't too long before we were met by a cardiologist, and he introduced himself, and he asked us, he said, well, what do you know? And I was like, well, we really don't know anything. I don't even really know what heart failure means. And he went on to describe to us pretty crazy stuff, just a lot of stuff we didn't understand. Showed us, plastic hearts and diagrams and stuff, but basically all that to say that Treffin had what was called AV canal defect complete, which basically was a medical way to say that his heart was just completely messed up. It was actually amazing that he had lasted 10 months without, more symptoms than he had had. He had holes all throughout all 4 chambers of his heart. I mean, ultimately, instead of 4 separate chambers, he had basically one chamber where the blood was just all flowing, just all over the place. It wasn't going where it was supposed to, and what had happened is it got to a point where his lungs just couldn't handle the pressure it was getting from the heart, the arteries, and he got to a point where the lungs were so bad that he couldn't recover from this cough, these flu symptoms on his own, and so that was kind of the I guess where it all began. Our heart surgeon was trying to describe the process to us as to what Treffin was going to have to go through. Basically, they're going to have to go in and literally, cut his sternum, basically fillet him open, and go in and just do this really invasive open heart surgery. They were going to go in and try and correct all these holes. They were going to try and fix his mitral valve, which was the main issue. I think that guys, men, myself especially, you want to be able to control situations. This was really the first time in my life where control was completely out of my hands. This was just extremely overwhelming. All kinds of medical things I didn't fully understand. I was literally having to place my son's life in the hands of this surgeon, these nurses, this operating room staff. I just remember just literally crying out to God, just verbally, just saying, God, just please just take this from me, just show me you're real. I want to give this situation to you. I can't do this myself. I have no control. Just please just take this from me and just be the God of the situation. Just I give this to you. I give my whole life to you. And I don't even know how to describe it, but it was just, almost immediate. I just felt this just amazing, just calming, he was there. He was showing me that he was in charge. He always had been. I just was now, giving it to him. It was really discouraging. I gotta be honest with you. Even where I was at, with God and my trust and my faith in Him and the situation, there was a lot of whys. There was it's just like this roller coaster. It was just horrific. But once again, God was there. I remember I had to after getting the news, I had to just go get some fresh air. There's like this nice garden gazebo area in the middle courtyard of Phoenix Children's Hospital, and I went out there and just sat myself down on a bench and just by myself, and saw this guy pass by, and then he looked over his shoulder and came back, and it was the chaplain for the hospital, and it was pretty obvious that I needed a friend at that point. So he just came and comforted me and just told me a lot of stuff I already knew, but it was just God being there for me in the form of this chaplain. And there was lots of little things like that happened throughout this whole journey where you just constant reminders that God was there. So, again, the next day, third open heart surgery, and literally, less than 3 weeks. Again, we had to play the waiting game. Same ordeal. Surgeon comes in and has good news. Thankfully, Treffin had made it through the surgery, and he was doing well. And but this time, he progressed and progressed and progressed. Finally, on January 4th of 2007, we were able to leave the hospital. And what an amazing feeling to be able to be back out in fresh air with our child in hand, Being honest, there's a lot of times when I didn't think that was going to happen. In the middle of just all this turmoil, that I could feel at peace with the situation. Not knowing what was going to happen, knowing that God is completely sovereign, and there was no guarantee that my son was going to be alive after this surgery. Yeah, God was in charge, and I didn't have to worry.